Hello friends, Namaskar. Welcome to a channel Quest for Soma. Today is our third episode in English and today we'll be dealing with linguistic analysis or analysis of word Soma from a language perspective. As you know that linguistic analysis is one of the important analysis for deciphering identity of anything which is claimed to be lost or anything which claims to be ancient. So from that perspective now today we will delve into language analysis of the word Soma. So I have written some words on this board. I will explain it to you with the help of this board. So first is word Soma. So there are two sorts of analysis which we can do from the linguistic perspective of the word Soma. The first analysis is that if we were to basically look into Indian languages, Indian local languages, Prakrit languages, which are very old and they even find mention in the edicts or inscriptions which date to before Christ era. So it is a very old language. Of course Sanskrit is there, but Sanskrit is in a way refined language. So we will go to the Prakrit language first to understand the word Soma. So if you see on the top I have written two words, Usana and then Sana, and then that goes to Soma. So these three similar words I have written. So I will just explain these what's entail in Indian languages. Those of you who know local languages, be it Bhojpuri, Magahi, Maithili, Awadhi or Punjabi, they will be aware of these languages, these words. But for the wider audience, I will just explain these languages and try to link them with Soma. So first is in terms of phonetics, already this Sana is closely linked to Soma, but we are not merely here talking about phonetics but also the language itself. So Usna, this is the first word I think which we have to see. The first word Usna means boiled, and then after boiling or even without boiling, if you are basically mixing that dough, so for example if we need dough for flour or for any food preparation, so that is what is called sana in Indian languages. In Hindi we call it in modern days gudhna, atta gudhna, or in English we'll call it kneading the flour. So that is what sana is. So this sana word has close linkage with Soma. Sana, Soma, these are phonetically linked words. So one theory is that this Sana word has been Sanskritized, that is refined, and it has been made into Soma. So what is need for refining? That is the question which arises. So need for refining is that if I were to draw a global context, so people would be aware that there was old Italian language that was considered vulgar language. Then there was a Latin which was a refined version of it and it was considered a sophisticated language. Similarly in India also we see that the words, the language to which these words belong, Usna and Sana, they are basically Prakrit language. Prakrit or natural languages what we call in India, they are part of that. So that's why they find mention in local languages. And Sanskrit is basically in a way attempt to remove attempt to sanitize these vulgar words in a way into a more refined word. So that might have resulted into what Soma. So but these are not linking this with any substance. As such, these words are neutral words. Usna is boiled. Boiled can be used in any context. Boiling water or boiling anything, boiling rice or anything can be called as Usna. Though typically nowadays it is more referred in the context of boiling rice or rice which has been prepared after boiling. So that is Usna rice it is called. So in short, from one perspective, basically these Prakrit words Usna and Sana became Soma in Sanskrit. There are instances of various words in Hindi, as various words in local languages. Hindi is also a very new language, so I will not talk about Hindi that much. I will talk about the local languages which have history of 2000 years, let's say, more than Hindi. So that's why these words Sana and Soma. So what I was explaining is that Usana is boiled, Sana is basically mixing like a dough. So these are neutral terms, not associated with particularly any intoxicating substance. But what we see in India, and why we are linking this, is what we see in India is that there are names of various eatables, substances, which we basically name them by the manner in which it is consumed. So one top of the mind, one example which comes is, in Indian languages, tobacco is called as khaini. So that is basically, in India people also eat tobacco instead of smoking tobacco, although smoking tobacco came to India only in 16th century, but it has, people have adopted it across the breadth of India. You will see in certain parts of India it is referred as khaini because people are eating this. So similarly, and similarly for Bhang, edible cannabis, we see that Bhang or Bhang, the word is meaning that it mixes with anything, or it dissolves ego, or it dissolves into anything like water or milk. So that is the word, meaning of the word which is there. So similarly, these are the Usana and Sana are basically methods of preparation, and that method of preparation is there in Soma as well. So if we see Rig Veda also talks about boiling the leaves, and thereafter mixing that leaves with milk and everything. So that method wise, this Soma is coming very closer to Sana. And incidentally, this is the same method, that is, first is boiling of leaves, then mixing that leaves with other things if you want to mix that. This is what happens in the context of edible cannabis or bhang as well. So from that perspective, this Soma word, Usana, Sana and Soma are taking us to edible cannabis. So one important point here, Soma in Rig Veda is about edible stuff, or stuff which can be mixed or drunk with something like with milk or yogurt. It is not a smoking stuff, so it is not a marijuana or what we call weed, which can be a smoke. So it is not talking about a smokable form, it is talking about edible form. So in that edible form, these two words Usana and Sana are become important, and then Soma from Sana. So this is one possibility, that this word is originating from the Prakrit languages, and Soma is a Sanskritized version of Sana. So this is point number one in favor of saying that Soma was inspired by method of preparation of Bhang. It is in a way describing Bhang, but it is disguising it, so that people are not easily able to decipher that it is indeed Bhang. Now we will look at this linguistic perspective from this linguistic analysis from a different perspective. From the second perspective, we look at the words which are basically closer to word Soma. So one word which is closer to Soma, which all of you know who are interested in this topic, is that word Homa from Iran, or from the Persian, ancient Persia, which also, that word also finds mention in Avesta. So Soma and Homa, of course, they are very close. But the problem with Soma and Homa is that if we leave it there at Soma, at Homa, then the mystery remains, because they do not take us anywhere to any plant conclusively. They open a Pandora box that, okay, mushrooms could be Soma, Homa, or cannabis can be Soma, Homa, or opiums could be Soma, Homa. So that leaves that opens a Pandora box. So therefore, instead of focusing on Homa from Persian, we will be focusing on the words which are used for cannabis or bhang in other countries. Most notably, as you would be aware, that the first recorded use of cannabis is in China. The word in China for cannabis or hemp is ma. Again, this ma and Soma seems to be closely related. It seems that only S word has been added here, and that is also a nature of our Indian languages, that if we are saying if we have to make something great, then this S word comes into picture. There are other instances which we'll be writing in description for this video. So this Ma and Soma in that way also is closely related. And now, while they are closely related, if we of course, there is one theory that this Ma might have come from Africa, because we see in Africa people are using terms like in Congo and Angola, term is Mariamba for this cannabis. So it is possible that Ma in China might have come from Africa, or it is possible that it would have gone from China to Africa. We can't be sure about that. But what we know is that the first recorded usage and the term in China is Ma. So we'll stick with China for time being, leaving African story aside for time being, because we don't know whether Mariamba went from China, Ma went from China and become Mariamba in Africa, or other way around. But if we look to other countries, most notably Tibet. So Tibet is, incidentally, term is Soma Rajda. This is a clear-cut Soma word is being used here. Tibet, as you know, that Tibetan plateau, this area, China, Tibet, is considered one of the areas in which there is the earliest recorded usage of cannabis. So Tibet has Soma Rajda. Soma Rajda means Soma Raja, Soma King. So why Soma King? Because in Tibet literature, Soma is referred as plant which is basically king of all plants, and there is no confusion. Soma is indeed referring to cannabis or Bhang, edible Bhang. So there's a clear-cut linkage. Of course, people can say that no, Vedas, Soma was used first in the Vedas, and maybe Tibetan people would have used that as a derivative, as the word derived from Vedas. But I don't subscribe to that theory. First is because Rig Veda itself say that Soma is found in the mountains. Tibet is where the mountain is. It has been brought from mountains, so it might have been brought from China, Tibet. So this is what Veda might be talking about. So there's a good possibility that this Tibetan Soma Rajda has a clear linkage with this Soma, and people, when they were composing Vedas, they borrowed this term from Tibet. And they borrowed this term from Tibet. So that is one analysis which is coming. Of course, this opens up a different question, that when was Vedas composed, what were the oral tradition. So we'll be delving into that topic in later videos. For time being, we are focusing on the word Soma. So this Tibetan word has clear-cut linkage with Soma. So this again leads to conclusion that actually Soma is edible cannabis. So today, just to summarize our findings till now, because it might get confusing, today what we have done is that we have analyzed Soma from two perspectives. One is linking with other Indian languages which are very old, nearly 2000 years old, and coming to conclusion that because of these two words, Usana and Sana, Soma is also linked to that. Because the method of preparation is same for Soma, we need to do Usana, that is boiling. Sana, we need to do something like kneading the dough. So that's why these words are linked. And here we are saying that this because of Tibetan link and Chinese Ma link, this is cannabis, edible cannabis is Soma. So this is from two perspectives. We are coming to conclusion that from a linguistic perspective, Soma is equivalent to edible cannabis. There are different words, but that will cover in a different video. Essentially, what we'll be talking is different names for cannabis in different countries and how they were derived. But that is a topic for different episode. So in today's episode, then we'll conclude with this, that okay, from linguistic perspective, Soma is coming close to edible cannabis, or what we call Bhang in India. So that is a conclusion, but as you would have seen in our previous videos, we are saying that there is no clear description of Soma in Rig Veda so that it can be matched with any plant today. Because of that, people have come up with a theory that Soma is lost, Soma is no longer there on the earth. My analysis is that the Soma was hidden in plain sight. It was disguised. Because of its linkage with war. And my conclusion is that Soma has been used as a word for two substances. One is opium, opium, and the second is Bhang. And there is a deliberate confusion which is there in the Rig Veda so that people do not identify the plant clearly. There is a secrecy maintained with respect to that plant. So that is our theory. You can see our other videos where we are talking about is Soma lost or is Soma hidden in plain sight. What my analysis is coming to conclusion is that Soma, from usage perspective, it is closer to what we call opium or Afim in India because of the fact that Rig Veda links Soma with war. But in terms of a description in Rig Veda, that is, it has to be boiled, it has to be made, dough has to be made or mixed with milk. In terms of a description, it matches with Bhang. But Bhang being a psychedelic substance, anyone who would have used this would endorse that Bhang is not something which is suitable for use before war. It is suitable for using if you want to do some you want to show some compassion or show some love. So that is where psychedelics would come into picture, not for war. In the context of war, opium becomes more relevant. And as you would see in our other episodes, and even in my book Immortals Quest for Vedic Soma, what we are saying is that opium continues to be used in the northwestern part of India even till today. It also has ritual significance in northwestern part of India even today. So Soma, while all of us would have liked it to be a very great substance, unfortunately the conclusion is that it is Afim, opium disguised and mixed with Bhang, because Bhang is a sacred thing in India, also associated with various gods till today. So therefore, while it aims to portray opium, but it disguised it in a manner such that there is a confusion that whether it's opium or Bhang. So that is what Soma is. Of course, that doesn't make Vedas less great. Of course, Vedas have their own importance and own relevance. So we are not saying that Vedas become less great because of this fact or there's any issue. What we are saying is that Soma is a disguised plant. It has been disguised with a specific purpose of making it secret, not making it popular among the masses. So those might have been the aim of keeping it disguised. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time.